Hey, what is up, guys, and welcome back to Football Discussions. We're coming at you with Mock Draft 9.0, and this is going to be my first two-round mock draft in the series, so this is going to be a longer video. But anyway, thank you guys so much for your support over the past couple of videos. I love reading your comments, and I love hearing people disagree with me. It's nice to have a ton of opinions on the page, and that's really why I made this channel in the first place. It's called Football Discussions because I love talking about football. And I feel like making mock drafts and talking to you guys in the comments really enables me to do that. But regardless, let's get into it. Starting off with the number 1 overall pick, the Bengals are going to take Joe Burrow, quarterback out of LSU. Burrow is an overall beast with great pocket composure and accuracy, pocket presence, and just the right amount of swagger. The only knock on Joe Burrow would be his arm strength, but his overall play outshines every other quarterback in this class. The Bengals are going to move on from Andy Dalton, and Joe is the perfect fit for them. With the second overall pick, the Washington Redskins are going to take Chase Young, edge rusher from Ohio State. Young is easily a top 3 player in this class, if not the best. His size combined with his speed off the edge makes him next to unblockable. Young, in my opinion, may be better than the Bosa's, but only time will tell. Regardless, it is a no-brainer for the Redskins at 2. With the third overall pick in this draft, the Lions are going to take Isaiah Simmons out of Clemson. Simmons is a beast with a lot of talent. At Clemson, he's played safety, linebacker, and even at times edge. I see him playing linebacker in the NFL. His versatility won't only make him a great run stopper, but also an outstanding pass coverage backer for Detroit. At the 4 spot, I have the New York Giants taking Andrew Thomas, offensive tackle out of Georgia. I've gone back and forth on this Giants pick. I mean, they could take offensive tackle. They could go wide receiver. If Simmons is available, they could take him. A wild card for the Giants could even be Jeff OKUDAH. But for right now, I have my top offensive tackle, Andrew Thomas, being their guy. Thomas has great size and strength and will bring some youth and athleticism to whatever line he goes to. I just think it's the safest pick for the Giants here at 4. With the 5th overall pick, I have the Miami Dolphins going Tua Tagovailoa, quarterback out of Alabama. He brings a lot to the table for Miami, and I know Dolphins fans might not want to reach on him here, but the matter of the fact is that it is a quarterback league, and when you are restarting your franchise, the most important position to lock up is quarterback. So while he may not be the best player available, he is the most needed player for the Dolphins, and he is certainly capable of being an NFL quarterback with his great arm and his decent accuracy and pocket composure. With the 6th overall pick, I have the Los Angeles Chargers going Justin Herbert, quarterback out of Oregon. Herbert is a guy that reminds me a lot of Josh Allen in that he is tall, has a rocket for an arm, but his accuracy is a little raw. In my opinion, he isn't worth a 6th overall pick, but it's been pretty clear that Phillip Rivers and the Chargers have mutually agreed to part ways, so the Chargers are going to need a quarterback, and Herbert, while he's going to take some time to develop, is going to be their franchise guy for years to come. Not to mention, he just balled out at the Senior Bowl, won Senior Bowl MVP, won practice MVP, and got the chance to impress a lot of scouts from the NFL. So I think that his stock is rising. And if you are a Chargers fan, I know it may not seem like the right pick, but trust me, in time, I feel like this one may work out. With the 7th overall pick in this draft, I have the Carolina Panthers going Derrick Brown, interior defensive lineman out of Auburn. Now, the Panthers could go Jordan Love here due to the fact that the rumors seem to be coming to fruition that they are moving on from Cam Newton. However, I believe they can get a quarterback in free agency and here take the player that they need most, which is Derrick Brown, who is a versatile defensive tackle who can also play 3-4 end. Brown is not only a fantastic run stopper, but can get after the quarterback and bring some pressure to this defensive line that the Panthers desperately need. With the 8th overall pick, I have the Arizona Cardinals going Jedrick Wills out of Alabama. Now, in the past, I've mocked CeeDee Lamb here due to the fact that it would be awesome to see Kyler Murray and him play together. But someone in the comments made a good point, which was the fact that the Cardinals drafted 3 wide receivers in the first 4 rounds last year, and it wouldn't make sense for them to get a wide receiver in the first round. Not to mention, this is one of the most stacked classes in receiver classes in NFL history, so they could get a guy later on. So instead, here they're going to pick a guy that can protect their franchise quarterback, Kyler Murray, and Wills is that guy. He has great size and great strength and blocked for Tua's blindside at Alabama and will be a franchise offensive tackle for years to come. With the 9th overall pick, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars going Jeff Okudah, cornerback out of Ohio State. Now, the Jaguars traded away star cornerback Jalen Ramsey earlier this year, so why not replace him here with one of the steals of the draft in Jeff Okudah? Okudah has great ball skills and is a great tackler, something that is rare nowadays in cornerbacks. He's fantastic in man and zone and will be a great Ramsey replacement for the Jags. With the 10th pick, I have the Browns going Tristan Wirfs, offensive tackle out of Iowa. Wirfs has great size and strength and is actually a pretty athletic offensive tackle for his size. The Browns' offensive line was atrocious last year, and I feel that the line contributed to some of Baker Mayfield's poor quarterback play. I think offensive tackle is a must for the Browns, and Wirfs is the next best one in this class. At 11, I have the Jets going CHAISSON, edge rusher out of LSU. Now, Jeudy or CeeDee could be the move here, but in reality, the edge spot is becoming the most important position on defense, and the Jets don't have a good one. While a wide receiver is a need, like I mentioned before, this is a very deep class, and the Jets could get a Tyler Johnson, KJ Hamler, Brandon Ayuk later in this draft. CHAISSON is the most athletic edge rusher in this class, and his speed off the edge is ridiculous. He is a little raw, and his technique isn't anything special, but with his athleticism and good coaching, he'll be able to grow into a premier edge rusher in this league, and I think it's going to be the smartest pick for the Jets. The Las Vegas Raiders are counting their lucky stars that they have the choice of Jeudy or CeeDee in this scenario, and honestly, they can't miss here. Both players are exceptional, but I'm going to have the Raiders going CeeDee Lamb. Lamb, in my opinion, isn't as skilled as Jeudy, but his big play potential will draw Gruden towards him. CeeDee can kill defenses over the top and through the middle of the field, and I think it's going to be a great pick for the Raiders. Now, this pick has been tricky for a while because I've long mocked JAVON KINLAW here. I personally believe that Love is not a first-round caliber quarterback due to his 20-17 touchdown to interception ratio last year, but the Colts seem to think otherwise. Love definitely could be picked by the Pats or the Saints later in the first round, and the Colts seem to love him. See what I did there? Regardless, he has a strong arm, is mobile in the pocket, and if I had to make an NFL comp, he's kind of just a worse version of Patrick Mahomes. I think he has potential, but it is a risky pick for the Colts that could pay out big time. The Bucs are another tricky team for me. They could go running back or quarterback or secondary, but I feel like they're going to bring back Jameis for at least one more year, and their young corners and safeties began to play very well at the end of the season last year. And it's kind of just too early for a running back, in my opinion. On the other hand, Vita Vea is a great defensive lineman, but he could use some help. JAVON KINLAW is a beast and an amazing run stopper. He had a great week at the Senior Bowl and solidified his spot in the first round, and I think that him combined with Vita Vea and Shaq Barrett can make this one of the most terrorizing defensive line groups in the NFL. This is the dream scenario for the Denver Broncos. At 15, they're going to get the best receiver in the class, in my opinion, Jerry Jeudy. The Broncos already have big play receiver Courtland Sutton, who's becoming a clear number one in this league. The Broncos need a player that can run the underneath routes to either take some pressure off Sutton or just to get the ball and go. Jeudy is one of the best route runners I've ever seen, and he will make Drew Lock's life a lot easier in Denver next year. The Atlanta Falcons at 16 have some pressing needs along their defensive line. They could go edge or interior defensive lineman, but now that KINLAW is not on the board, I have them getting A.J. Epineza, edge rusher out of Iowa here. Epineza is a dominating pass rusher with all the intangibles you want. He's strong, fast off the edge, and is also a fantastic run stopper that can bring some versatility to this Falcons D-line. With the 17th overall pick in the draft, I have the Cowboys getting Grant Delpit, safety out of LSU. Jeff Heath is not a starting caliber safety in this league, and Grant Delpit is a freak athlete with insane range, and his tackling was the best among all defensive backs in 2018. Now, it did kind of slump in 2019, but I always say that you can coach tackling, and you can't coach the kind of range that Grant Delpit has. Delpit will make an immediate impact on the Cowboys defense and is going to be a great pick for Dallas. With the second pick in the draft for the Dolphins, they're going to take MEKHI BECTON, 6'7", 368-pounder offensive tackle out of Louisville. Becton's size and strength is ridiculous, and his stock is quickly rising. The trade of Laramie Tunsil has left the Dolphins tackleless, and Becton can be the perfect replacement. He's a little bit raw, but can definitely grow into the role of a starting offensive tackle in this league. With the 19th pick in the draft, I have the Las Vegas Raiders going Kenneth Murray out of Oklahoma. Murray's a physical specimen with insane athleticism. He's a great run stopper and can play a little coverage too. The Raiders could go secondary here, but I feel that Murray is just too hard to pass up on. At the 20 spot, I think that the Jaguars, after already nabbing OKUDAH, are going to go wide receiver. Now, Ruggs is available, but DJ Chark is kind of already that speedy wide receiver, and I feel like the Jaguars need more of a big body, big play type, and T. Higgins is that guy. He's a great athlete who can take the top off defenses and go over the middle, and he'll be the perfect fit in Jacksonville. With the 21st overall pick in the draft, I have the Eagles getting Henry Ruggs, the speedster out of Alabama. Ruggs is a great player who can become a consistent target for Carson Wentz, something that has been lacking in Philadelphia for the past couple of years. With the 22nd overall pick, I have the Buffalo Bills going Justin Jefferson, wide receiver out of LSU. Jefferson's another guy that is very versatile. He's played slot. He's played outside. Very good hands, very good route runner, and I think he's definitely worth a first-round pick. Josh Allen needs a consistent target, and I know John Brown had a fantastic year, but he's approaching 30. Cole Beasley is getting up there in age. They need some youth in this wide receiver core, and Jefferson brings that. With the 23rd overall pick, I have the Patriots going Curtis Weaver, edge rusher out of Boise State. Weaver has a second-round grade for a lot of guys, but for me, he's been consistent for 3 years straight at Boise State, has all the intangibles you want, great size and strength off the edge, kind of bulldozes guys at some points, and at other times he'll just beat you with his speed, although he doesn't look that fast. The Patriots did get Chase Winovich last year, but I think they need more production along that defensive line. Their run stopping was great. Their secondary was great. Now they just have to solidify their pass rush and become the best defense far and away in the NFL. With the 24th overall pick, I have the Saints going LAVISKA Shenaults, wide receiver out of Colorado. Another beast here. Very strong, great jumping ability, knows how to go up and get the ball. The Saints need someone alongside Michael Thomas to relieve some of his pressure, get him more in more one-on-one scenarios, or if they're still doubling Michael Thomas, at least you'll have LAVISKA Shenaults in a one-on-one who can certainly handle that workload. I think Breeze or whoever is going to be throwing the football in New Orleans next year needs a consistent number 2, and LAVISKA Shenaults can be that guy. With the 25th overall pick in this draft, I have the Vikings going Kristian Fulton, cornerback out of LSU. Fulton is a guy that has been in my top 12 before, but now, due to his performance in the national championship, he has me concerned because those were 2 NFL caliber wide receivers that he was going up against, in T. Higgins and Justin Ross, and he got smoked by both of them. Now, I know Fulton has had great performances versus great wide receivers before, but that national championship performance did scare me a little, made him fall, but not completely out of the first round. The Vikings are a cornerback-needy team. They could go interior defensive line, but for me, it's just too early for a guy like Raekwon Davis or Neville Gallimore, so I think Kristian Fulton is the guy for the Vikings. With the 26th overall pick, I have the Miami Dolphins going Jonathan Taylor, running back out of Wisconsin. A lot of people have DeAndre Swift being the number 1 running back in this class, but to me, Jonathan Taylor is far and away the most talented. He's had 3 amazing seasons, balled out as a freshman, balled out as a sophomore, averaged 8 yards per carry in both those seasons, and then that number went down to like 6.5 this year. Still ridiculous. Great ball carrier vision, reminds me a lot of Le'Veon Bell, but this guy is not going to fall to the 3rd round like Le'Veon did. Worth a first-round pick, and to me, he is the best running back in this class, and the Dolphins definitely need one, so it's a good fit. With the 27th overall pick in this draft, I had the Seattle Seahawks going Tyler Biadasz, interior offensive lineman out of Wisconsin. Another really good player here. Very, very versatile. I mean, he's played guard, he's played center. He can really do it all. A great run blocker. He's a decent pass blocker. I'd say that's his area where he needs to improve the most. But regardless, he knows how to open up holes. And in such a run-heavy offense in Seattle, he'll be a great addition to the team. With the 28th overall pick, I have Patrick Queen shooting up into the first round, linebacker out of LSU. What impresses me the most about Patrick Queen is his pass coverage skills. He's obviously a fantastic athlete who can hit hard and cover the run, but he's actually a very good pass cover, and I think he'll be a good fit in Baltimore where they need that Ray Lewis replacement. Now, I'm not comparing Patrick Queen to Ray Lewis by any means, but it feels like Baltimore hasn't had a consistently good middle linebacker since he left them, and maybe, just maybe, Patrick Queen can replace him, not in the sense that he'll be as good as him, but replace him in the sense that the Baltimore Ravens will have a starting caliber middle linebacker for years to come. With the 29th overall pick in this draft, I have the Tennessee Titans going YETUR Gross-MATOS out of Penn State. Harold Landry is developing into a very good edge rusher in this league, but he needs someone across from him who's not above the age of 30, and I think that YETUR Gross-MATOS can bring a spark and some youthness to this defense. And YETUR is just a fantastic player, very strong, very fast off the edge, knows how to get to the quarterback. Also not the worst run stopper in the world, which is definitely a benefit. So I think it's a good fit for Tennessee. With the 30th overall pick, I have the Green Bay Packers going Jalen Reagor, wide receiver out of TCU. Now, we see Devontae Adams running these over-the-middle routes, these out routes, but he's not really – and listen, he does have big play potential, but he's more of a solid route runner that does the medium routes. Jalen Reagor could be that big play receiver in Green Bay that they're lacking right now. He has great speed, great hands, and he's not afraid of catching it in traffic. He'll go up and get the ball, so I think it's a good fit for Green Bay. With the 31st overall pick, I have the Kansas City Chiefs going C.J. Henderson, cornerback out of Florida. Another guy that just has blanket coverage. Now, the only knock on Henderson would be that his tackling isn't great, which I agree with. He's not the best tackler, but when it comes to his coverage and his coverage alone, he's probably top 2 in this class. Fantastic coverage. Like I said, he's like a wet blanket all over you. Great ball skills, knows how to intercept it, and the Kansas City Chiefs need an addition to the secondary. Juan Thornhill played amazing last year. Tyrann Mathieu is playing amazing. And they can just get that one more corner, then the secondary can become very young and very good. And I like this pick a lot for Kansas City. With a 32nd overall pick, and this is a nice little steal here for the 49ers, and it goes Xavier McKinney, safety out of Alabama. McKinney has everything you want in the safety. Great pass coverage. He's also a fantastic run stopper. Played a little box linebacker at Alabama. Played a little nickel cornerback, and also played safety, obviously. He's really versatile, can bring a lot to the table for San Fran, who needs a safety. All right, guys, we're going to move on to round 2. My analysis for these guys, I haven't watched a ton of tape on all these guys. Some of them I've researched, but again, this is just my first analysis. First time I've ever mocked the second round for this year's draft. So take it easy on me, but let's get into it, starting off with the first pick in the second round, and it's going to be Austin Jackson to the Bengals out of USC, a player that is very strong. He was a first-round offensive tackle coming into the draft last year, or not the 2019 draft, but at the start of this season, a lot of people viewed him as a first-round tackle. Now his stock has kind of fallen, but the Bengals need someone to protect their new guy in Joe Burrow, and Jonah Williams and Austin Jackson can be a very young, good duo for the Bengals. With the second overall pick, I have Raekwon Davis, the defensive tackle from Alabama, going to the Colts. Like I said, in the past, I've mocked Javon Kinlaw to the Colts at 13, but now that I took Jordan Love in the first round, I think that the Colts would get their interior defensive lineman, Raekwon Davis here, very athletic, kind of like, I would say more athletic than Derrick Brown, but in the sense they're the same that they can both play 3-4 end. Raekwon brings a lot to the table, very strong, and I think it's a good pick for the Colts. With the third overall pick, and this is a steal here, I have Trayvon as a first-round talent, but there were just other needs for other teams that made him fall out of the first round in this scenario. But the Lions got Isaiah Simmons in the first round, and now they're going to beef up their secondary with Trayvon Diggs. Darius Slay is getting up there in age, and I believe he's a free agent this year. So regardless, even if they bring him back, Trayvon still brings something to the table. Great boundary cornerback. Fantastic in the man. His zone is not as good as his man, but he's still very, very talented, and I'm a huge fan of his, and it will be a steal for the Lions at 3. With the fourth overall pick, I did have KJ Hamler here at first. Giants could go wide receiver, but I thought back to why their team was so unsuccessful last year, and when it came down to it, it was the fact that they got no pressure on the quarterback, and Terrell Lewis is a beast. I had him as a first. I mean, like, you can go back to my first couple of mocks. Terrell Lewis was a first-round player for me, but now I think he's there's just so many other good players in his class that he's kind of stumbled to the second round, and he didn't have the best year this year. But regardless, he's still very talented, very quick off the edge, one of the fastest players off the edge in this class. And kind of like K'Lavon Chaisson, his technique isn't all that. I would say it's even better than K'Lavon's, but he's not nearly as athletic as K'Lavon. But regardless, he's still going to be a project for the Giants, but I think he can bring a lot of potential to this team, and bring a spark to this New York Giants defense that desperately needs it. With the 5th overall pick, and I know I'm going to botch his name, Prince Tegawanogo, offensive tackle out of Auburn. You got Justin Herbert in the first round. Now you got to protect him if you're Los Angeles. And I'm just going to call him Prince, is able to do that. Great size, great strength, and he'll be a good offensive tackle for the Chargers. With the 6th overall pick, I have the Panthers going Jeff Gladney, cornerback out of TCU. Another guy that I like a lot. He's very good, great in man, decent in zone, and his ball skills are unrivaled in this class. Maybe Jeff Okudah could get up there. I would say Paulson Adebo, but he went back to school. But he's great at tracking the ball, swatting it, picking it, all that, and I think it's a good pick here for the Panthers at 6. With the 7th overall pick, in the first round, I had the Dolphins going all offense. They got their offensive tackle, they got their quarterback, they got their running back. Now you need to bring it to the defensive side of the ball. You worked on the interior defensive lineman with Christian Wilkins last year. Devon Godshaw's there, and your linebacking core is really good. Got 2 young studs in Jerome Baker and Raekwon McMillan. Now you need to go edge, and Julian Akwara can be that guy. Very talented off the edge, very quick, very agile. A lot of people have him as a first-round talent. To me, he's not, but he's still worthy of a second-round pick here, and it's a good fit for the Dolphins. With the 8th overall pick, I have the Cardinals going Neville Gallimore out of Oklahoma, defensive tackle. Very big, and his size and strength is really what propels him here. His technique isn't all that. And he's not the best pass rusher, but again, that's not really his goal. He'll probably end up playing nose tackle in the NFL, and he's a really good run stopper, which is what he's meant to be good at. So I think it's a good fit for the Cardinals at 8. With the 9th pick, I have Ashton Davis, one of my sleepers in this class. He's really creeping up on my board, even becoming a first-round talent, in my opinion. He went to Cal, who had one of the best secondaries in college football last year. Super talented, great range, knows how to get from one side of the field to the other, and the Browns are a team that needs a safety, so pairing him along that young secondary with guys like Greedy Williams and Denzel Ward will be amazing for the Browns. With the 10th overall pick, I have the Jaguars getting the first tight end off the board, Cole Kmet from Notre Dame. His pass-catching skills are amazing, and he's also a really good blocker. If I had to comp him to someone in this class, it would be George Kittle. I almost said Greg Kittle, shout out Barstool, confusing me a little. But regardless, he's very talented, great size, and also a good blocker, like I said. So I think he'll be an intriguing pick for the Jaguars. With the 11th overall pick, the Bears need to solidify that interior offensive line, and Nick Harris can be that guy. Great size from Washington, and I think he'll be a good guard in this. He actually plays center at Washington, so they would actually have to slide him over to guard for him to be a good fit, in my opinion. But I actually might make a video where these guys will play best. But that's all besides the point. I like Nick Harris to the Bears. With the 12th overall pick, I have the Colts getting their next wide receiver of the future in Brandon Ayuk. Now, I could mock KJ Hamler here, but it feels like that would just be taking Paris Campbell and cloning him on this Colts offense. So instead, I went with more of a bigger type receiver. And now Brandon Ayuk is still a speed runner, returns punts and all that. But he does play a little bigger than guys like KJ Hamler and Paris Campbell. And I like Ayuk a lot. It would give Jordan Love or Jacoby Brissett a player to throw to and at a consistent basis. T.Y. Hilton is obviously still amazing. Eric Ebron seems like he'll be testing out free agency this year. But regardless, Brandon Ayuk can bring something to the table, replace T.Y. in the future, and I think it's a smart pick for the Colts. With a 13th overall pick, this one's pretty simple. The Bucs need a running back, and DeAndre Swift is a fantastic running back. Great vision, super agile. and also has good strength and a low center of gravity to him, which makes him a really hard runner to bring down. And I like this pick a lot for the Bucks. 14th overall pick, Chris Harris Jr. might not be there in Denver next year, probably not actually. And Jalen Johnson, I do have him above guys like Bryce Hall. And the main point being is that he's just such an athlete, and his actual cornerback play might not be as good as a Bryce Hall, but when it comes down to it, Jalen Johnson is fun to watch, has great speed, probably will end up having one of the fastest 40-yard times for a cornerback. But I like this pick a lot for Denver. With a 15th overall pick, I have the Falcons going A.J. Terrell, cornerback out of Clemson. The Falcons went defensive line, and earlier in this class, they went edge with A.J. Epineza earlier. Now they have to solidify their secondary. I think it's most important for the Falcons to focus on defense because their offense was the strong point of the team last year. If they could get that defense back to where it was in that 2016 season, then we could be seeing another Super Bowl appearance out of this team. It definitely still has the talent, still has the pieces in play, and I think A.J. Terrell could be a good fit in Atlanta. With the 16th overall pick, I could have had the Jets going wide receiver, but they got edge in the first round. Now I feel like you want to protect Darnold, and Lucas Niang from TCU brings that. One of the bigger tackles in this class, super strong, great size to him, and I think it's a good pick for the Jets. With the 17th overall pick, and this is a player I don't know much about. This is more stealing from other people's analysis, but Jonathan Grenard seems to be rising on a lot of people's boards. And the Steelers, they did get Bud Dupree. He's a free agent this year. Kind of had a breakout season, but he's already getting up there in age. I think he's like 27, maybe 28. And guys start to regress, I'd say around like 29 or 30. So I think Jonathan Grenard can be a good rotational player for the Steelers. Come in, switch him in and out from Bud Dupree, learn the defense, and maybe become a great edge rusher in this league one day. With the 18th overall pick, I have the Bears going with the second tight end in this class, Brycen Hopkins, tight end out of Purdue. This guy is just a pure pass catcher. Really good speed on him, probably one of the faster tight ends in this class. And like I said, he's got great hands, and the Bears are lacking in the tight end position. I think it's something that a player that Mitchell Trubisky relied on, Trey Burton, when they went 12-4 or 13-3, whatever it was 2 years ago. Didn't really play. I mean, he dealt with injuries, but they didn't have a consistent tight end. And I think Mitchell Trubisky, in order to succeed, needs one, and Brycen Hopkins can be that guy. So I like this pick a lot for the Bears. With the 19th overall pick, and the Cowboys do have other needs, but they already got Delpit in the first round. They could go cornerback like here. They could get a Bryce Hall. But to me, Amari Cooper's a free agent. We don't know his story. And Michael Gallup has shown flashes of greatness. But after that, I mean, you had Tavon Austin and Randall Cobb. Those guys aren't going to be long-term solutions. And to me, three good wide receivers on the team can make all the difference. And, the Cowboys threw the ball so much more than we ever saw them before. And KJ Hamler can bring like that speed and great hands and great route running that the Cowboys need at the 3 spot. So I like him a lot for being that slot guy, and I think he'll actually get a lot of catches wherever he goes in his first season. With the 20th overall pick, first pick in this draft for the Rams, they're going to get Josh Jones, offensive tackle out of Houston. The Rams have to be in a win now phase due to the fact that they've traded away most of their assets draft pick wise. So they've traded for players like Jalen Ramsey, and they have their franchise quarterback in there, Jared Goff. They have Todd Gurley. They traded for Brandon Cooks. So they need to be in this win now phase due to the fact they don't have a lot of picks. And Goff was under pressure relentlessly last year. Maybe Josh Jones can be the guy in Los Angeles that protects the quarterback more, gives Goff more time to throw. So I think this is a good pick for the Rams. 21st overall pick, Eagles get Bryce Hall, cornerback out of Virginia. This one's simple. The Eagles' secondary is atrocious. Bryce Hall is good. It seems like a good match. Bryce Hall is a good corner. Haven't done a lot of scouting on him, so I'm not going to give like in-depth analysis. But I like him a lot, and I think the Eagles need a good corner, so it makes sense. 22nd overall pick, as a Michigan fan, Uche was one of the brighter spots on this defense. A defense that kind of struggled last year. But, I mean, he's like, to me, a worse version of Caleb Vaughn in the sense that they both are raw. They both are athletic, but Caleb Vaughn just seems to, be a little better in his technique. Josh Uche is a project for the Bills, but it seems that they have the older players, Jerry Hughes, if he doesn't retire, in place to, get through one more season as these guys develop. They already have young guys along the defensive line, Ed Oliver, who, wasn't even a starter last year. So I think that Josh Uche could come into this team, keep that Bills team, moving forward rather than regressing, and it's going to be a good pick for the Bills. With the 23rd overall pick, Falcons are staying with defense. Like I said, their offense is set for me. I mean, their offensive line is playing decent. Devontae Freeman had not the worst year last year, and their wide receiver core is ridiculous. If they can maintain Austin Hooper, they'll have one of the best receiving cores in the NFL next year. And Matt Ryan was still playing very well last year. So I think they continue going defense here, get Ross Blacklock, interior defensive lineman out of TCU, more of a nose tackle type than, a guy like Derrick Brown or Raekwon Davis that can play 3-4 end. But regardless, he's very good at run stopping, even got to the quarterback a little at TCU last year, and it's a good fit for the Falcons. With the 24th overall pick, the Dolphins have gotten running back, quarterback, edge, and offensive tackle so far in this class. And to me, their fifth need right now is cornerback, and Damon Arnett brings something to the table for the Dolphins that is missing right now. Xavier Howard has had off-the-field issues. I don't really know his status with the team. Aqib Talib is not going to be there long-term. I'm sure he's actually going to leave this offseason. But regardless, Damon Arnett is an underrated player. He was outshined by guys like OKUDAH and Shaun Wade last year, but he's still a second-round corner in my opinion. He has a second-round grade for me. I watched some of his tape. Very good zone cornerback, plays good man too, and I think it's a good fit for Miami. With the 25th overall pick, and this is a steal for the Texans here, they're going to get their running back of the future in J.K. Dobbins out of Ohio State. This guy has a low center of gravity, and his burst out of the hole is something that is unrivaled throughout all these running backs in this class. I would say ETN rivaled him, but he went back to school as well. So Dobbins has really become like the clear-cut third running back in this class, and I like him a lot. I mean, people could even put him at 2. If they wanted, and the Texans need a running back, so it makes sense for them to go Dobbins here. 26th overall pick, Netane Muti, probably botched that name too, but the Vikings could go defensive line here, but I think all the second round caliber ones are off the board, so they could wait till the third round. They already got their cornerback of the future, so I think they go to protect Kirk Cousins and open holes for Dalvin Cook a little more, and Muti is that guy in my opinion. He's very big, played at Fresno State, so didn't go up against the best competition, but when people say that, it actually makes me angry, so I'm going to stay away from that. But I think it's a good pick for the Vikings. 27th overall pick, this is a guy that I saw rising on a lot of draft boards, so I decided to watch a little of his tape. I like him a lot. He's kind of a scrappy player, not the biggest guy, but I mean, you can look at the picture on your screen right there. He has long arms, and he uses his arms to his advantage, gets a hold of the offensive linemen before they can get a hold of them, a hold of him, and I think after getting Tyler Biadasz in the first round, you need to get someone that can go alongside Jadeveon Clowney. Ziggy Ansah is getting up there in age. I think he's like 33 now. So I think Zach Bond can be a good replacement at that edge spot for the Seattle Seahawks. 28th overall pick, and this is probably my favorite receiver in this class. Not talent-wise, obviously. You can clearly say that Judy, CeeDee, Rieger, Jefferson, Ruggs are all better than him, and I would agree with you, but I just love Tyler Johnson and what he brings to the table. He goes over the middle of the field and super fast, and also he has good hands. Like, he'll go up and get the ball, bring it in, and catch it. And I mean, the Ravens already have Marquise Brown. They have Willie Snead still, so why not bring in a third wide receiver that will definitely be a starting caliber wide. Trust me, Tyler Johnson will be number one day in this league, and I like this pick a lot for the Ravens. 29th overall pick, and this could be a reach here, but I was watching some Jason Jacob Eason highlights during Spanish class today, and this guy's a beast. I mean, he's tall, he's much more mobile than people give him credit for, and his knowledge of secondaries in the game is what like really shines to me. And honestly, like the Titans, Tannehill is going to come back just based on the success that he had at the end of last year. But like 2-year deal max for me. They need a replacement quarterback. If Tannehill starts playing poorly, they can always put in Jacob Eason, and I think it's a good safety net pick for the Titans. 30th overall pick, another steal here. Another guy that's widely underrated in my opinion, Troy Dye, linebacker out of Oregon. Great pass cover, kind of like Isaiah Simmons almost, but not actually anywhere near his level of pass coverage talent because Isaiah Simmons played safety. But Troy Dye, for what he is a fantastic pass coverage linebacker, plays hard, plays scrappy, great run stopper as well. So I think it's a good pick for the Packers who need a linebacker, especially since I want to say Blake Martinez, but that's probably wrong. Their starting linebacker is leaving. The guy that led them in tackles is going to free agency. The report came out yesterday, so I think linebacker is a need for the Packers. 31st overall pick, I had the Chiefs going running back in the first round a couple of weeks ago. Running back is definitely still a need, and since I already went C.J. Henderson in the first round, I think Zach Moss here in the second round is definitely worthy of a first-round pick. Another guy with great burst, great vision, and it's a good pick for the Chiefs. And then finally, with a 32nd overall pick in the class, Seahawks with their second pick in the first round, Donovan Peoples-Jones out of Michigan. Now, Peoples-Jones to me, and I know I said I was a Michigan fan, so this is probably going to come out as biased, is probably one of the best receivers in this class. And he did not get to perform at all because in his years playing at Michigan, he had a guy named John O'Corn throwing him the football, and then Shea Patterson throwing him the football. I feel like he never got to unleash his full potential, and in the NFL, he could definitely shine. I mean, he has great size, great speed, and great hands. What more could you ask for a wide receiver? And I think the Seahawks can nab a steal here at 32. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, that was my first time doing the second round. I did enjoy mocking it. It's fun to see all those guys that you think are first-round talents slip out of the second round, and then you get to see where they would go in that scenario. So I like doing this a lot. I'll probably end up doing team-by-team drafts, seeing who each team should try to go after. But regardless, like I said, it was a blast doing this. If you liked it, please leave a like. If you want to see more mock drafts, please subscribe. We'll see you guys next time. Take it easy. Peace.